Hi everyone, it's Lindsay here from So Sweet Samuel. I thought I'd do a slightly different video today. So this is actually going to be my very first floss tube video. So I'm going to put this up as a floss tube. So if you are new here, you're very welcome to join me on my floss tube journey. Now I used to cross stitch. I used to be an avid cross stitcher back in my late teens, all through my 20s. Into my 30s, and then I stopped doing it for a very long time and dabbled in it from time to time, but never really did anything of any significance for a very long time. In the last few months I've got back into cross stitching, and in the last month I've got back into it massively, and I would say I've done more cross stitching in the last month than I've done anything else. So I'm really enjoying it, to the point I want to stitch anything and everything. Actually, I'm just going to make a note here. Hold on. Sorry, just making a note. And that's purely down to sort of looking on YouTube and finding floss tubers to follow, as I'm going to mention a few of them now, and I'm sure they're people that you already follow if you are a cross stitcher yourself. So the first person I discovered was Tina from Simply in the Stitches. I will list all these people below. So Tina is a multi-crafter, a bit like myself. She knits and sews and cross stitches, and I think she crochets as well and does a bit of paper craft, so she does a bit of everything. But when I found her channel, it was primarily cross stitch, and she really inspired me, and she introduced me to a new designer who I had never seen before, called Emma Condon. Now I have got one of her books somewhere, but I don't know where it is at the moment, but something I'm going to show you this morning is an Emma Condon design. But I loved the designs that Tina had done so much that I've actually managed to buy one of her books. So next time when I come along again for another floss tube, I will show you one of Emma's books. They are lovely. They're so nice and bright and colourful and just very wordy. But Tina has done quite a lot of her patterns, and they are really nice, very modern and different to what we were doing maybe 30 odd years ago. So I'm really enjoying watching Tina. That then led me on to discover the lovely Sarah from Sew Me Sarah, and she is just lovely. She's Irish, and she's got the most beautiful Irish voice that you could just sit and listen to in the background all day, and her cross stitches are beautiful. I absolutely love watching her channel. I've been binging a lot of her videos. I think she uploads every 2 weeks. She uploaded one the other day and I watched that, and I've been binging all her previous episodes as well. I've still got plenty to watch because she's been uploading for a couple of years now. So I really love Sarah and her videos, and I've actually brought a pattern that she's in the middle of doing. She's doing a 50 for 50 Mao. Sarah's going to be 50 in December, along with another lady, which is Flossy Sews and Grows. I'm also going to be 50 next month, so I'm going to join in with this cross stitch as part of their 50 for 50. So I'll show you that shortly. And then the other lady I've discovered is Sherry from Just Sew Sherry, and she is just hilarious. She would be such a lovely person to meet in real life. She's really funny. So I'm sure they're people you're already aware of, but I thought I'd give those ladies a shout out and I'll tag them into my video because they have really inspired me. 3 completely different people, but 3 absolutely lovely ladies who are a joy to watch. Very different reasons, but they are lovely ladies to watch. Very similar sewing styles to myself. Yeah, so if you haven't seen those ladies, check them out. They are really lovely. So I'm going to show you, I've got 2 finished items. So that my first finished project was from the World of Cross Stitching, and it is an Emma Condon project, and it's just this little bookmark. So this was in the most recent copy of World of Cross Stitch, and it was just a bookmark. And when I got the magazine, I thought it was a kit. I thought it was just a project. I don't know where to put this so you can still see and hear me. I thought it was just a project within the book. But when I got home and actually opened up the magazine, I discovered it was a complete kit within the book. You had everything you needed in order to make this bookmark. And it says, time for a cup of tea and a book. And I think it's lovely. So it's just stitched, very bright colours, different fonts to stitch with, and then it's just attached to a little piece of felt. This didn't take very long at all. It said in the magazine it would take about 8 hours to stitch. Well, it definitely took longer than 8 hours, but it wasn't a huge piece to stitch. And I just think that's a really lovely quick make. It'd be something I do. I do always have a bit of stitching in my handbag for when I'm waiting to pick Samuel up from school. So that would be quite a nice one actually to redo as a nice little Christmas gift. It'd be a nice little stocking filler. I wouldn't mind redoing this a couple of times as a present for Christmas. The felt is just acrylic felt. I did find that quite hard to sew the Ada onto the felt, I must admit, going through sort of 2 layers. The Ada's quite stiff. So I did find that quite hard on my hands to do that. But I do think that's really lovely. So, so it's Emma Condon. So that's the style that Tina from Simply in Stitches, she likes that style. And I know Sarah has done some of her work. And I think Sherry has as well. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Try not to. No. Sorry about that. But I think that's delightful. It's a really pretty little bookmark, and it'll make reading even more enjoyable. And I do love to read, so I'm going to start using that now. I do read on my Kindle quite a lot, but I do like a proper book as well. So that was a really nice project. So that's finish number 1. Finish number 2. So that is an FFO, fully finished object. Learning the jargon. So this is just an FO. So this I started last year and just dipped in and out of it, because I haven't cross-stitched really for about 20 years. And when I went back to it, I realised how my eyes have deteriorated over 20 years. So I still need to press this. So this is for my grandson Rupert. He was 1 in February. And his bedroom is a jungle themed. So this is a kit I bought from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It's still available on their website. It's stitched on a bluey grey Ada. It's a 14 count Ada. I'm afraid I've never stitched on linen, and I think 4 weeks off of being 50, I think that ship has sailed. My eyesight is so poor that I don't think I will ever, unfortunately, be able to do cross stitch on linen. But I really enjoyed doing this. I started off really well, really enthusiastically last year when Rupert was first born. And then because I was struggling so much, I found it quite hard on my eyes, quite hard on my hands. I have arthritis in lots of my joints, my hands, my neck, my head. Not that you cross stitch with your head, obviously, but bending down, hurting my neck. But in the last couple of weeks, I was determined I was going to finish this off. So on Caterpillar Cross Stitch, they just finished this off in a hoop as the finish. So obviously it needs a press. I had initially been stitching this in a nurge frame, but I actually find it's easier on my hands to just stitch in hand. That's how I always used to stitch. I never used to use frames. Even when I was younger, I never used a frame. Occasionally, very occasionally, I would use a hoop, but not very often at all. I prefer to just stitch in hand. So I took it out of the nurge hoop after spending all this money on all these different size nurge hoops. I took it out. I think embroidery, when you've got to have the work very taut, but for cross stitch, I prefer just to roll up and stitch. So on the caterpillar cross stitch site, they're showing this just finished in a hoop with some animal print background material, but I don't know whether to do that or whether to finish this in a frame. So maybe if anybody's done this cross stitch, maybe you could give me some ideas, let me know what you think. But I really like that. And the thing I like most of all, there's no back stitch, there's no outlining to do. So yeah, so there we go. Don't look too closely because the stitching is not perfect on this one. But just 3 lovely jungle creatures. So yeah, so I will get that ironed now. Then I have some works in progress. So a friend of mine is getting married in November, and when I brought the magazine that had the bookmark on, so it was this magazine, it was World of Cross Stitch, and it was, does it say the issue number? Don't think it says the issue number on here. So it was this magazine, was the World of Cross Stitch, and this is where the bookmark came from. It doesn't have an issue number, but I bought it last month. So I bought it end of March because the next issue comes out, I think today actually, 16th of April. And I bought it because it had this wedding sampler on. So I'll show you a close-up picture of it. So it's quite a modern wedding sampler. It's just a couple in a car and they're holding their hands up, and their hands, how they're holding their hands spell out the word love. So I thought it was quite nice and modern, and I really fell in love with this. But I was determined, I was very good, and I finished what I had, but then I've made a really good start on this. So I started this on the 6th of April. So it's stitched on blue 14 count Ada. Most of the called for colours, I've changed their skin tone, and I've changed the colours of the flowers because they are having an autumnal wedding. So I've done quite a lot of the white of the car. I've stitched the bride, I've stitched the body of the groom and his hand. I haven't got the right hair colour yet for the groom, and I haven't got the colour for his braces. I need a specific grey for his braces. So I'm going to have a look through my stash of threads and see if I've got the right colour. If not, I will call into Hobbycraft next week and get that colour. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So this is just stitched on a blue Ada 14 count, which I brought from Wool Warehouse. I think it cost me about £7 for this piece of Ada, which I didn't think was too bad at all. So I'm making really good progress on this. The wedding, like I say, is not until November, so I've got plenty of time to get this done. I've only got the car and the flowers, so there's the picture again. So I think that's really pretty. So hopefully next time I see you, I'll come back. If you want me to come back, I'll have a bit more done. My next work in progress, now this has been started, oh my goodness, I have no idea when I started this. I started this for my mother-in-law a long time ago, and I put it away. So it is a DMC Classics. Now I've done one for my mother-in-law previously, same sort of style, an Edwardian lady. I did one for her previously, or 1920s I did for my mother-in-law before, I think. So that's the pattern. But this has been put away for a long time, and I just dragged it out the other weekend. I've ironed it, and I didn't realise how much of it I have actually done. So I've done the skirts and the flowers. On here it looks okay, but there are a few marks on this fabric. So I'm going to see what happens if I carry on stitching this, and hopefully the marks will be covered with the embroidery, with the cross stitch. But I would like to get this finished for her for Christmas. I think she'll quite like that. So let's see what I've got left to do. So obviously I've got the lady in the blue dress to complete. I've got the head of the lady in white and grey to complete, and then the border, which is quite a detailed border. So I would say I'm probably about 50% done, maybe, I don't know. So I haven't touched this since I took it out the cupboard, other than just to iron this to smooth it out. I removed the needle that had unfortunately gone rusty, which isn't good at all, is it? But when I've made a bit more headway on the wedding sampler, then I will obviously give this a bit more love and see what else I can get done on that. But that's quite a sort of an old-fashioned cross stitch, back in the day sort of style cross stitch, so I will see what else I can get done on that. So inspired by Sarah from Sew Me Sarah, I brought from 123 Stitch, I brought the Little House Needlework Kit Schoolgirl Lessons. It is a really tiny stitch. I didn't realise quite how small it was. It's only this size. I'm just going to put my hand across some of it because obviously I'm showing a paid for pattern. So it's really quite small. It's the finished stitch size is 59 wide by 87 high, and it says the recommended fabric is 4 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches, so it's not very big at all. So I bought this from 123 Stitch, which is an American company, and I ordered this last week and it actually arrived yesterday, which I think was very quick. This is the colour thread I've gone for. This was recommended, and it's silk and it's lovely. I've never used anything like this, so I presume you separate this off like normal floss. I've never used it before, so maybe somebody can advise me. The colourway is Rose of Sharon. It's Classic Colourworks, and the colourway is Rose of Sharon. So I believe Sarah has just started stitching this as part of her 50 and 50. So I'm going to do this. I'm obviously going to do it on Ada. I'm not going to do it on linen. When I placed that order, I also ordered some embroidery scissors as well from 123 Stitch. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm happy with how quickly that order came, considering it was coming from America. The only thing I thought, I did actually think it was a kit, and clearly it's not a kit. So I've still got to get the fabric, and I want to have something cream. I think white would be too harsh, so I'm going to go with something cream. Okay, so I'm looking forward to doing that. What else? So I have also, yesterday I treated myself to the historical sampler company SAL that Sarah also talks about on her latest video that she uploaded. This is their new stitch along, which I believe begins on the 16th of May. Sarah does an unboxing for this, and she's got the gift box, and I actually treated myself to this because it starts 5 days after my 50th birthday. So I brought myself a birthday present. If you want the gift box, it's £70. Don't tell Mark, it's £70. So I bought myself the gift box. Or if you just want the kit, I think it was £42 to have the kit, but I decided I would treat myself to the gift box as it will be my 50th birthday. So it's a stitch along, and the designer is Emma Condon again, who was the designer of this bookmark. So there's little sneak peeks on the historical sampler company. As it is a mystery stitch along, you're obviously only getting little sneak peeks, and I think the pattern is released by PDF every 2 weeks. So it starts on the 16th of May. And you can choose whether you want to stitch it on Ada, linen or even weave. So that's exciting to start. Just put that thread away. Other projects I have. So I also have this cross stitch that I bought last year to stitch for my grandson Rupert. It's a bothy threads. I do like bothy threads. I have stitched them before. So I'm looking forward to stitching this. It's all the threads are already sorted for you, which is nice. You haven't got that job of sorting out the threads. It's going to be stitched on antique 14 count antique white in Ada. Finished size with 36 centimeters. Oh, I can't speak. 36 centimeters by 15.5 centimeters. So it's not huge. Full cross stitches, back stitches, and a few French knots. So this will probably be one of my next starts as well, because that'll be quite a simple kit really. It's not a nice fun little kit, and then obviously I'll put his name and date of birth and his weight on there. So that'll be a nice one to do. I also treated myself. I'm always late to the party. If you watch me normally on So Sweet Samuel when I'm doing my knitting podcast, you know I'm always late to the party with everything. And as always, late to the party. I've just brought the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Christmas Wonderland Stitch Along from 2023. Late to the party. This was released in September last year as a weekly or bi-weekly stitch along, but I've just got it now. Late to the party, always. But I thought this was beautiful. So we've got the Caterpillar cross stitch threads. I love how they always present these nicely. Always have plenty of thread left over. I think the reason I didn't buy it at the time, and the thing that is worrying me, excuse me, a little bit with the historical company, is it's a PDF, and I'm not very good at downloading PDFs, so that's the only thing that's concerning me. Whereas now I have got the colour chart. So again, it's a chart, so I'm going to cover some of it. So you get a full colour chart from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, so that's beautiful. You get your instructions as to how to start stitching, and you get your Ada. So again, a nice blue piece of Ada, so it's not too huge. So I will start that. I don't know when I'll start that, because obviously it's a very Christmassy themed one. It's a Christmas cross stitch. Do I want to cross stitch a Christmas item in the summer? We all know I love Christmas. I would celebrate Christmas all year round, so who am I trying to kid? Christmas all year round doesn't bother me. Actually, maybe Christmas in July might be quite nice, mightn't it? Maybe I could do this in July. I've got other things to do before then, but maybe I'll cross stitch that in July. But that's still available on their website. If you wanted to go and pick that up from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I do like Caterpillar Cross Stitch for their kits. They're nice and clear and concise to do. So that's the Christmas Wonderland kit. I'm hoping they do another stitch along for Christmas this year, which if they do, I will sign up for it at the correct time. But when I start this, I will show you the progress I make. But whether I start this now or whether I keep this for a Christmas in July project, that might be quite nice, mightn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. And I've just had through the post. I think the reason I got back into cross stitch so massively, I went to see my friend Kay a good few weeks ago, and on my way back I called into Morrison's, and they were advertising the Peter Rabbit stitch along, or the Peter Rabbit part work, and I picked up the first magazine and I absolutely loved it. And it had in there to make this sample. We were going to make 4 samplers over the year, seasonal samplers. So this was the spring sampler, and you got the pattern in the first magazine. You got the pattern to make this first part of Peter, and you got the colours for the first part. Oops. And in the second one, you've got the colours for the second one. Now they don't look the best quality of threads, to be honest with you, but I brought part 1, and then I couldn't get part 2, couldn't get part 3, and so on. Part 1 was 99p. I think it then went up to £2.99. I think it's gone up to £5.99 now, but I cannot get it. But a very lovely lady on Facebook Market was selling, or had brought issue 2 and 3, but realised that with her little one she wasn't going to get them done. So she sent this to me for free, and I just need to pay the postage. So this is literally just arrived through the post today. So you've got a little bit more stitching to do, the Peter Rabbit. But in all honesty, I'm pleased I haven't subscribed to it because there's very little in this magazine. And when you work out the price of it, I'm pleased I haven't subscribed. However, I do like Benjamin Bunny, so I might be stitching him at some point. When I do that, I don't know though, because I've got so many other things to do, and yeah, I'm not going to do it at the moment. But I'm pleased I did not subscribe to it. I'm pleased that's one rabbit hole I managed to avoid, because there is so little in this magazine. It's quite disappointing, really. There's another alphabet. There's a B4. They're going through the alphabet, doing A4, B4, so on. So that's quite nice, but you've got to wait 26 weeks to get all of that. So you've only actually got a bit more of the Peter Rabbit motif to finish off, that Benjamin Bunny sampler and that beaver, and that's it. That's all you've got in there, and that's going to be worth £5.99. I don't think that's good value for money, personally speaking. That's just my honest opinion. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you like what you've seen. If you've got any comments, it'd be lovely to hear your comments. If you're stitching anything, let me know. If there's any rabbit holes I've missed, if there's any floss tubers you can recommend, let me know and I can follow those. But I'd like to say thank you again to Tina, Sarah and Sherry for helping me rediscover my love of cross stitch. I will be back later at some point with my normal knitting podcast, and hopefully I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another floss tube. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. It's been lovely chatting with you, and I hope you're all well and happy crafting. Take care everyone. Bye.